Good afternoon, welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back today with issue 26 of the Hachette Partworks release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. Okay, so what do we have in the magazine today? Stories of the nurses and the orderlies who survived the Titanic disaster. Again, more on those staff members. Date with Destiny on that page. The Stone Titanic. Basically it's a building fitted out by the same people who did the interior for Titanic and Olympic and Britannic, incidentally. Illnesses and accidents. Medical facilities on board the Titanic were in keeping with the rest of the ship. Were they ever needed? Well, probably not, since it was the maiden voyage. And then, yeah, again, a couple of minor injuries, but nobody became seriously ill, apparently. Good. And then we're on to the step-by-step instructions. Now, I'll show you what's in the box, but fair warning, this one's a little bit fiddly. Okay, so look at the size of this box and what's inside it today. Well, shouldn't really be using my drill bit to open up sellotape, but it's easier than fighting with it. We have a set of tweezers, nice little inclusion there, must be said. I do have my own set that I'll probably use if I need them, and chances are I might in this issue. Then wrapped in here we have the floor of the engine bay. Now again, I'm not sure what colour this would have been, but you know, I'm quite happy to leave it as black. I have no evidence it was anything to the contrary. And then we have the thrust block. We have some pipes to go on the thrust block, those are nice and small. And we have some EP screws. And that is, I believe, as they say, your whack. So, what are we doing first? The first thing we're doing is getting the thrust block out of its little baggie. So. And all we're going to do is line the sides up. They will only fit one way, and push them together. Now it said you shouldn't need glue for this. Nope, I'm going to glue them. So I'm going to need glue shortly anyway. So what I use for my glue is just a Pringles lid. And this is my glue of choice. Glue It from The Range stores in the UK. If you're not UK based, I think most of the people that watch my channel are UK based, but if you're not, this glue is very, very similar to Loctite, I am told. So again, all this is an Archimedes drill with a paperclip, straightened paperclip in the end, and just a little dab of glue. The reason I do this is it avoids glue going absolutely everywhere in places that you perhaps don't want it to. Again, line the pegs with the holes, push them together so you get a nice firm fit. And the other advantage of this glue is it dries very, very quickly. Okay, so that is the thrust block. I do believe there's one for the other side that comes in a later issue, but it doesn't come just now. So, next, we need to get the pipes and identify which one is which is probably, I would imagine, given the size of these, going to be easier said than done. So there we go. Those are positively diminutive, some of them. So, we have Right, so they're basically mirror images of each other, these pipes. Okay, so I'm going to go and have a look and just make sure I'm using the right pipes for the right side, and I'll come back to you in just a sec. Okay, so what we need to do is get this piece here, which is 26F, and it sits just like that. And what we're doing is putting that tiny little nub there in that tiny little hole on the curved bit. Okay. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so I'll see how tight it is without glue. Nowhere near tight enough without any glue on it. I'm just going to make sure I am in fact putting it on the right piece. Very fiddly, and all you're really seeing here is my fingers. I'm not convinced that's the right bit. In fact, it's not. So you need to be very, no it is, sorry. You need to be very careful because that end doesn't have a hole in it to accept the piece. This end does. It needs to point up the way, and that goes in like this. Okay, so I'm going to put a little spot of glue on there, because if you put them on the wrong side, you're done, basically, because you're not getting them back out, they're too fragile, and you will just smash them to bits. So it goes in, just checking to make sure I'm putting it in the right way. Yeah, okay. So it sits like this. This piece goes on like that. Hold them together. Till the glue decides to set. I find this glue is normally very, very quick, but it's not like in this bit at all. Oh no, there we go. That's it now. So what you have is the pipe shaped like that. Yeah, that's not bad at all. And then just the same on the other side, which will hopefully be slightly easier because I've just done this one. What I think I'm going to do though is, rather than putting the glue in the hole, I'll put the glue on the actual peg. That should make it slightly better. And then again, it goes in like that. Hold it in until the glue starts to set, and it looks like that. Fantastic. So now what we're doing is attaching these pieces into the thrust block itself. Now essentially they're going to go in, there's a hole there and a hole up there. So they're going in pretty much exactly as you would expect. So this piece here, the long bit will go into that hole there. No, I'm talking nonsense. Just as well I looked. So the longer bit of pipe goes along the top into that hole there, and the shorter bit goes into that hole there. So again, let's dab a little bit of glue. Now, I was told this was very, very fiddly. It's not as bad as people have said, but it does want us to put a very, very small piece in there in just a moment. So we'll see how, just how fiddly that is. That may be slightly slightly more fiddly. But what I'm going to do is, this hasn't glued together very well at this end. So I'm going to put a little dab of super glue just on the end, clamp it together with my fingers, just to kind of close that wee ending gap. Yeah, perfect. That's better. So, as I say, little dab glue in there and in that hole in the top. What I'll do is I'll put that into the top hole and then set that in there, and that's what that looks like. Just like that. Now again, if this was a slightly older ship, I would probably weather these details up. I'm just going to do the same on the other side, do it the exact same way. But because Titanic was such a new ship, and I'm going to have it displayed as she would have been when she left Southampton for the maiden voyage, etc., etc., I'm not going to weather her up particularly, I don't think. I may have a look at some pieces, like for example the where the anchor chains go. I may add a little bit just of rust effect there, but nothing severe, purely because I don't think Titanic was around for long enough to require any weathering. But there we go, that's those pipes in. And then the only other piece we have goes in that hole there. It is a D-shaped hole, so it will only fit one way. Again, I'm going to use my fingers. Feel free to use either the supplied tweezers or the tweezers of your choice. But that part looks like this. So I'm going to put it in its hole and then I'll show you. That's it there. It's basically a little hose coming out the side of the thrust block. Now, I do realise I have that all to do again. I think it's the next issue, but that wasn't as bad as people have made it out to be. Certainly wasn't disastrous. And this thrust block is going on the left hand side, so it is going there. Okay, so I will get the screws out, and it's been mounted with a pair of EP screws. Okay, so we're taking this, putting the thrust block on. I'm assuming it will only fit on one way. That is indeed the case. Now I don't know why. I suppose probably quite difficult to manipulate the pipe work, but, and we're then screwing it in through these two holes in the bottom. Now, as I say, because I'm a little bit behind with, I say a little bit, I am massively behind with my model. I have seen, I've seen some people try and putting the thrust block in before they put the screws in and everything. I don't think, I think you'll have far more trouble trying to put the pipes in after you screw this to the deck, just because you're not going to be able to manipulate it as well. So I think in this case they've got it the right way around here, as long as you don't put too much pressure on the pipes themselves. That's what that looks like. An awful lot of work for that tiny little bit of detail, but that's what you often find with these models. So that is us for issue 26. Again, I always say believe it or not, but yeah, believe it or not, that is us. A nice little bit of detail added there. Yeah, quite impressed with that. Again, obviously there's one to go there, and then your two engines will sit here and here. And there's a whole lot of pipe work that goes in the middle. But yeah, that's us for issue 26. Well, that's that all for issue 26. So what are we doing in issue 27? Well, we're not doing the second thrust block. we're doing the second engine. So yeah, quite looking forward to that. Get the second engine. I have a sneaky peek of what the engine room looks like when it's all built, and it does look fantastic. I think we're up to issue 36 in the subscription now, and we're almost finished the engine room. As I say, everything up to issue 40 is all engine room details from now on. Sorry if that doesn't interest you, but yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm going to crack straight on with issue 27, so that should be uploaded not long after issue 26, to be honest with you. But yeah, thank you for watching. Any comments, complaints, criticisms, please drop them below. And yeah, thank you for watching. And as always, peace out everyone.